Molly. Hey, congratulations on your short documentary, Only Girl in the Orchestra.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Gig. It's nice to be here.
Hey, it's great. It's great to even have a chance to watch it. And it's more of a congratulations being showcased at Doc NYC. How does it feel?
It feels great. It's a long time coming. It's a 2-year process making the film since we got our funding in January 2021. So it feels terrific. The premiere is tomorrow, and I'm super excited about it. I've got a flock of butterflies in my stomach.
Well, that is a very good film festival, and you're in good company. So, Molly, tell us what sparked you to do this documentary in the first place?
Well, I've always admired Orin O'Brien. She's my aunt, and she's always been growing up. She was the adult that I admired most in the world. She, at in 87 years old, she was an independent woman by the time she was 19, 20 years old when she came to Juilliard in New York City. She is an artist. She is a teacher, and she's managed to master her craft and live a life in the arts and the performing arts full of purpose and meaning. And I'm just a huge fan of hers. And I felt very strongly for a long time that the world deserved to know Orin O'Brien. So I've wanted to make the film for a very long time.
So, how did you convince your aunt to participate in this documentary? Because I watched it and she seemed so, I want to say, extraordinarily too humble to be a part of anything.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. It took a long time. I asked for over 10 years and she refused me. But I think some of the best protagonists are reluctant protagonists. And certainly Orin was a reluctant protagonist. If you get someone who really wants to be on television, you're going to get reality TV and you're going to get people who are inauthentic. And the approach to the filmmaking was based on Orin's philosophy and her humble personhood. We worked as an ensemble. I'm the director of the film, but I am not a soloist. I am very much part of an ensemble, just the way Orin is part of an ensemble when she plays the double bass in the double bass section. As she says, she's a section player. And I like to think of myself as a section player too. This film was made by a group of people in a section as an ensemble.
That's funny. Being her niece and your aunt, you two are relatable in the case of trying to relate all this as more of an ensemble piece, an ensemble production in a sense.
Yeah, I think we discovered pretty early on in the process that what was emerging as thematically in the material was this tension between the spotlight and the background, being a soloist versus playing in an ensemble, a celebrity culture versus communal culture, and that's what attracted me to Orin's story. Certainly another filmmaker might have told her story in a different way, but those are the themes that I was really attracted to.
Now, for someone like myself who's not very familiar with the orchestra concept, what is a double bass? I thought there was just a bass, but
well, the double bass as an instrument is the same instrument as the stand-up bass that you see in a jazz ensemble or a jazz quartet. It's played with a bow, and so that distinguishes it. It predates the jazz stand-up bass, or so it's the grandfather of all the basses that you hear in music, and it's been around for a very long time. And Orin would be better at answering the question about the history, and I won't bore you with all that, but it goes way back into the 1700s, I believe, in Europe.
So for someone like Orin, just any type of person, it's a rarity for someone to even playing a double bass, and not only that, at an orchestra level like this then?
Yes, that's another thing that of course attracts us to Oren's story, and that is she's a master of an instrument that is really difficult to play. It falls out of tune quite easily. It's big. It's very difficult to cart around, and it's a very physical instrument. You can see in the film when she's teaching that her students are sweating, and she goes and she gets them a handkerchief to wipe the sweat off the brow. I mean, it's very, very physical. But she also would say that that's part of the joy of playing is the vibrations, and the sound of the instrument is so, obviously deep. It's in that low frequency, and in order to achieve that low frequency and to hear that sound, it's actually is a physical thing. You have to feel it physically in order to hear it. It's when you hear the bass line in a song, you're not just using your ears, you're using your body, you're feeling it, the vibrations. And that vibration, that instrument is against your body as a double bass player. And so it's a physical experience, as well as an aural experience.
Wow. Now, through your production, you try to connect Orin with her students and also with others. What actually exude her personality that basically puts her different from the rest of the people out there?
Yeah, I think Orin is an extraordinary teacher. Really extraordinary teacher. Most of us set out to master our professions or our craft and aren't particularly interested in sharing the tips and tricks with the generation coming up behind us. As a matter of fact, I think most people are pretty threatened by the younger generation kind of pushing us off the stage. But in Orin, there's this real generosity and willingness to share, and actually a compulsion to do it, because she feels very strongly about the technique that she teaches and the way that she plays the double bass. It is not the same way that everyone plays the double bass. And she feels very strongly about keeping that legacy and that lineage, that double bass lineage alive. And so that's another wonderful thing about her, is that how generous she is and how dedicated she is to teaching. She's very beloved by hundreds and hundreds of players around the world.
Now, of course, the retirement was portrayed in your film. Was that planned, or was that just a coincidence of timing? Because I know you tried to pursue this film for many years.
Yeah, well, originally I wanted to follow her in her last year playing with the New York Philharmonic, and she just, I was just waiting for her to make that decision. But COVID hit. So when Orin played her last concert with the New York Philharmonic, she was unaware that it was her last concert. And so in 2021, I realized that we couldn't follow that last year. So what could we do? And I think it turned out to be a real blessing, because a film that would follow her, a verite film that would follow her on tour and through her last concert with the New York last year with the New York Philharmonic, would have been a wonderful film. Maybe even a feature film. It could have been more material in that way. But the interior life that we all led during COVID, and the grappling with questions about, what am I going to do with myself now, I think really played in to the themes of the film and to the kind of the things we wanted to say about Orin. So she still could teach. She learned how to do it on Zoom, and she was kind of pushed into retirement, and it wasn't nobody pushed her into retirement. COVID did that, COVID did that. So we had to pivot. But I think that pivot ended up being a good one.
And you also made mentions about this. She's part of the sort of a celebrity artist family is the term, and you are technically part of it too. Could you talk more about that? And why do you also follow the footsteps of this artist family?
Oh, well, thank you for saying that. Yeah, I mean, you hear me say in the film, Orin, we come from a family of artists, and she says, I'm not an artist. I'm not good enough. I don't consider myself an artist. So the tension between my desire to push her into the spotlight, and her desire to stay out of it is sort of the heart of the film. She's the child of movie stars. My grandparents, George O'Brien and Marguerite Churchill, were film stars in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. My grandfather made over 80 films in Hollywood. And so she grew up, with celebrity culture, under celebrity culture. And she just decided to turn her back on all of that. And she chose the double bass, I think, deliberately, because it's a supportive instrument. It's the floor on which the rest of the artists in the orchestra stand. Without it, it all falls apart. But it's not a soloist. It's an ensemble piece. She's a section player. And so that is true. But what is also true is that she's a master player. She's one of the best double bass players in the world. There's no question. She's also definitely one of the best teachers in the world, no question. And for me, as a filmmaker, as a storyteller, I want to uplift the underdogs. I love an underdog story. I think a lot of people do, and I love her. And so the tension between what she wants and what I want is very present in the film. And I think, this is the first film that I've directed in 20 years. I'm a producer, and producers are more ensemble players. They're more in the background, right? They're more they play the double bass, not the violin. The directors are the soloists, right? So it's been my path also to be the double bass player, to be the producer, to be in the background. And with this film, I'm thrust into the spotlight too. So there's this tension, there's a back and forth, and I don't come out on the side of either. I think in truth, sometimes we all have to play the double bass, and then sometimes we get to be the soloist. That's life.
That is true. That is true. And accomplishments should be celebrated, whether they want to be celebrated or not. Even producers, some producers are celebrated themselves in the industry. But Molly, let me leave with one last thought, because audiences will have a chance to watch Only Girl in the Orchestra. What is the one most important take you hope they walk away with after viewing your film?
I think it's the surprising nugget of wisdom that Orin leaves you with at the end of the film. And that is, she says, I'll tell you the key to happiness. Don't be afraid of playing second fiddle. Our culture is so concentrated on celebrity, on fame, and on individuation and the individual. And she really is talking about the collective and the ensemble. And I think that's really what we all wanted to say with this film.
That is true. Especially in this industry, you have to remember supporting roles help the lead roles in any film. So that is well said. Well, Molly, thank you very much for speaking to us about Only Girl in the Orchestra. And I do have to admit, Orin did actually lead a very accomplished life, and it was great to learn about her life. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gabe. Thanks for having us.
Hey, thank you. Bye now.
Bye.